Despite pouring his heart out in an interview with Billboard and vowing to stop the violence, it seemed that as time went on, YoungBoy would suffer a change of heart. On February the 17th, 2023, YoungBoy would appear in a sit-down interview with the Rap Radar podcast, where he claimed that he didn't want to speak on stopping the violence, and suggesting that people had been doing things that made him change his mind.
You also starting to stop the violence campaign, man. I like this direction that you're going in, YoungBoy. Can you talk about that initiative?
Yeah, I really don't want to get off into it.
Yeah.
Man, they got a lot of just some going on today, bro. This shit, bro. Yeah, just, hey, stop the violence, man.
Right.
If you do something, just make sure it got a very good meaning, like the right reason, but
do something with intention.
Yeah.
Now, it's unclear exactly what the weird stuff behind the scenes were that made YoungBoy want to stop stopping the violence, but perhaps it had something to do with the fact that a few days before this interview released, Lil Durk's fiancée, India, was seen suspiciously wishing YoungBoy's son a happy birthday under Jania's post. Despite seemingly putting a stop to the violence in Baton Rouge by calling a truce with his former enemy Fredo Bang, this didn't mean that things had stopped when it came to his beef with Lil Durk and the Chicago Black Disciples who were hell-bent on avenging King Von. In March 2023, members of King Von's crew from his native block O Block in Chicago were seen on social media, allegedly on the street that YoungBoy grew up on, North 38th Street and Chippewa. Clearly, the Chicago sets were looking to antagonize YoungBoy, but their next effort to prod top came from an unexpected source, Lil Durk's fiancée, India Royale. Now, Durk had actually been rumoured to have split up with India, though high IQ fans had their suspicions that this breakup was perhaps a fake marketing ploy. They had gone back and forth on Valentine's Day 2023, with Durk making a heartfelt post towards India. That was apparently not well received, with India rebuffing the show of affection and telling him to respect her boundaries and let it go. Now, a few months before, supposed DMs had leaked from NBA Ben 10 telling the newly single India that she should get with YoungBoy. The following month, Durk would be seen on his IG story saying that he will break people's jaws if he catches them in India's comments. On the 12th of March, Durk took to social media, vowing to save his relationship with India. However, it would seem that at least for the cameras, India was planning to stay single and live her best life. And in the following days, footage would circulate of her seemingly living it up as a single woman, taking a vacation to Bali, getting turned up with the girls, shaking her butt at the strip club. Posts would even circulate alleging to show India on vacation with another man. Durk would soon be seen on social media, dragging his ex and saying, "These hoes are for everybody."
Man, get in your feelings about your hoe. Get out your feelings about all these hoes. These hoes is damn, you can't save them all, brisky. Can't save them all. You got yours saved, but trust me. I know like.
Spotting a good opportunity to throw shade on his biggest rival, YoungBoy would take to Twitter to comment on the situation, saying that he knows how it is when your ex-girlfriend turns into a demon. Now, this tweet seems kinda deep when you look at it carefully, because let's not forget, this whole beef was started by YoungBoy's disgruntled ex Jania hooking up with King Von, who even called himself a demon. But anyway, it would appear that YoungBoy had taken the bait. The following day, seemingly out of nowhere, Lil Durk's missus, India, hops on Twitter and unleashes a ferocious series of tweets dissing YoungBoy directly. She says that he was just a dirty lil bad kid and that he wasn't like he says he is in his music. She would then confirm, yes, it's YoungBoy she's talking about, by saying, "I'm talking about Denthead." She would apparently go on to say, "People think because they were dirty and in the hood, they were automatically gang. You wasn't toting no guns, you was food deprived." Now look, I don't have any proof for what I'm about to say, so you can call this cap, but to me, it's pretty obvious that this is probably Lil Durk tweeting from the account, because there's absolutely no reason why Durk's fiancée, who had no involvement in this beef, or any history of calling out other rappers' street credentials online, would suddenly decide to involve herself in an already deadly rap/gang conflict. Plus, the breakup with Durk seemed 100% fake to me, and as we're about to learn, Lil Durk seems hellbent on baiting YoungBoy into beefing him for promotion in creative ways. I also think it's no coincidence that India's tweets saying YoungBoy was never like that seem to mirror King Von's earlier statements about YoungBoy not being like that.
Boy talking about on this song, bro. He talking crazy on this one.
Oh yeah?
He ain't even like that.
These bizarre and suspect tweets would provoke a light-hearted reply from YoungBoy, who told India she's not going to play with him, along with a laughing face and a link to his own song titled Denthead. He's basically saying she can't make fun of him calling him Denthead when he's already been using this nickname for himself on songs. Now, despite the warnings not to play with him, India would clap back, saying she was playing, A little while after this, YoungBoy would be seen on a clip on social media rapping lyrics from his upcoming song Big Truck, where he asks a girl to let him feel them. Whether or not Durk and India's breakup was real, or just an elaborate ruse to generate clicks and trick YoungBoy into a beef, we might never know. But now, the stage was set, and the Stop the Violence movement was firmly over when it came to Durk and YoungBoy, and it would soon emerge that the two artists were about to go to war over an album release slot. At the end of February, Quando would tease his new mixtape, in a post saying that it's 1 month until he drops his new project, which he's dedicating to his fallen friend Lil Pab. However, a few days after this, Lil Durk would take to Instagram with a post of his own, saying he can drop a single and put all the attention on him, suggesting that Quando's release date isn't safe. With that, provoking a response from Quando Rondo, telling Durk to drop a song then. Quando would go ahead and release his new project, Recovery, on March the 24th, 2023. In my opinion, it's probably the best work of his career, an inspiring, heartfelt, and moving album. On this project, Quando let the world know that he wasn't going to let this beef or his recent losses stop him from doing what he does best, making incredible music. And Quando wouldn't be the only one, as on April the 21st, 2023, YoungBoy drops his latest album, the 33-track Don't Try This at Home. The album's concept promised a hard-hitting and gritty affair filled with violence and murder anthems which the listener definitely should not try and emulate themselves at home. This album saw a defiant YoungBoy dissing his rivals from Chicago from the very first lyrics on the very first track, Big Truck, with YoungBoy saying that they're just rapping while he makes things happen, and saying that he will destroy and kill anyone who disses him. On Cold Killers, he claims to have sent his killers to take the lives of 4 people. As well as rapping, he doesn't understand why he's at war with people who are just hating on him, and rapping that they caught someone trying to leave their show and that his ops want to kill him, but they haven't managed to. As well as saying that they caught 2 bodies and go straight from doing an actual shooting to music video shoots, and saying they gunned down a rapper. YoungBoy also seemed to mention Von's death with sneak shots at O Block on the song Chopper Doctor, mentioning O's in 2 bars before saying people from your projects are dying and that his hitters catch him, hop out and walk him down. On the song Run the Hood, YoungBoy censors a lyric, but we can kinda get a vibe of what he's saying, as he raps, "I'm on the phone with Tim, oh that's Von's killer, bitch dig your brother up," with this perhaps being a reference to the fact that NBA Ben 10 showed fans that he has Tim saved in his phone as Von Killer too. YoungBoy goes on to say that he knows that Durk is dissing him in all of his songs and that they're going to kill him, as well as dissing Von again, saying that everybody wants to kill him, but they have failed, and that somebody died because of him, and that he knows all of his enemies hate him. Then, in the second verse, he says that all of Von's friends saying they're sliding for him have a death wish and that they're next in line to lose their lives, as well as saying that if he didn't have a child with Jania, he would have shot her for messing with Von. He also had the aggressive track Gravedigger, where he says he makes murder music and kills both rappers and regular dudes from the hood. On the song Off the Lean, he threatened podcasters for even speaking on him, and dropped more shade on King Von, saying in Atlanta he won't fight, he's bringing out guns, and saying they boycotted YoungBoy after Von's death and got Lil Durk lit. On Slimito, YoungBoy would claim that a rapper started dissing him and that he got killed in response. Then, on his song I Is That, he proudly proclaims to be everything people say about him, saying he came up robbing houses, and alluding to the Von situation, saying once again, he doesn't fight, he shoots, and saying he doesn't like his ops like D Von. A smart double entendre comparing himself to WWE wrestler D Von Dudley, as well as a reference to King Von, whose first name was Dave Von, as well as saying that he has plans to kill all the rappers dissing him. And then finally, on the last track, Like Madden, YoungBoy mentions people getting shot in fights again, saying, in a fight with that fire, you're gonna lose. Despite this being a standout album, YoungBoy's sales would ultimately disappoint in comparison to his previous output. It would debut at number 5 on the Billboard 200 albums chart, getting trounced to the top spot by a frequent collaborator of his arch nemesis Lil Durk, Morgan Wallen. However, some fans were quick to point out that YoungBoy, someone who releases numerous albums a year, can't really be compared to other artists like Durk, suggesting that cumulatively, he's already outselling the competition.
NBA YoungBoy flopped with his Don't Try This at Home album, or did he? Now, it only sold 60,000 copies in its first week, but YoungBoy drops 8 projects a year that average 40K in first week sales. That's 320K in a year, which is no different than when an artist drops 1 project in 1 year and most times doesn't even come close to those kind of numbers. YB really is better.
A week and a few days later, Durk would troll YoungBoy, putting up a post saying that he's been blackballed by the industry, before flipping the script and saying, "Psych, you can't blackball a goat." Clearly this was a dig at YoungBoy, but it flew over many people's heads. It seemed that Durk was fishing for a beef with YoungBoy to promote his own upcoming album. But initially, YoungBoy wouldn't take the bait. Regardless, the beef would be reignited once again, ironically, by rap commentator DJ Akademiks, who would bizarrely come out on a stream to publicly declare that the supposed beef between Durk and YoungBoy had been squashed.
Today, look how far they are.
Now that beef is squashed.
You ain't here?
Yo, Hack,
I'm
you
serious.
crazy.
Dirk and
Yeah, I
YoungBoy don't
forgot
got beef no
YoungBoy.
more.
Bro.
I'm serious.
Imagine.
Dirk and I might have forgot to tell the public that Dirk and YoungBoy don't got beef no more.
Now, I don't know where he got this from or why he decided to say it, but to anybody closely following the situation, it was clear this was absolutely false. Not only was the beef between YoungBoy and Durk active, but after the murder of Quando's cousin Lil Pab in Los Angeles, with Durk and his affiliates from Chicago seemingly claiming responsibility, frankly, this beef was as deadly and as active as it could possibly be, and it would appear that Akademiks had just reignited it publicly for the whole world to see. Soon after, the clip of Akademiks saying the Durk-YoungBoy beef was squashed would be liked publicly by Lil Durk's official Twitter profile, with many people believing that this was Durk and Akademiks confirming to the world that the beef was indeed over. Unsurprisingly, this misinformation had YoungBoy furious, so he would take to Twitter from his burner account, unleashing a scathing diss towards Akademiks and the music industry at large, saying that Ak is a bitch and so are his industry friends. But a couple of days later, the beef would intensify, but many casual fans would actually miss it, as Lil Durk would be spotted by paparazzi while shopping, where he was asked about the beef with YoungBoy. Durk would initially claim that there was no beef, but then dropped a subtle sneak diss, shouting out Morgan Wallen, who, as we know, had just obliterated YoungBoy in the previous Billboard rankings.
I mean, you know, DJ Akademiks is saying you and NBA YoungBoy's beef is done. Is that true?
What beef?
Oh, so there's no beef.
Beef who?
NBA YoungBoy?
Shut up, Morgan Wallen.
After this, Akademiks would go live with an extensive reply to YoungBoy, saying that he was hurt by his tweets, but apologising for saying that the beef was squashed when it clearly wasn't, and going on to brutally diss YoungBoy for being too sensitive and vowing not to support his music going forward, telling him he's not really blacklisted in the industry and promising that he will personally blacklist him by not posting him on his platform for 3 months.
Damn, that boy Ak look hurt. There is a little bit of hurt. In the music industry, the most self-centered person is a rapper. The rapper thinks the entire industry revolves and works around them. They forget the other pieces that help things happen. Did they officially squash beef? That is not true. So if I'll apologize, and I'll apologize publicly, if my words or my nonchalantness or whatever this clip made anyone feel like it's actually squashed, like they agreed to squash it, that's not true. He tweeted out an hour ago, Ak, you a along with his industry friends, I love this. It turned out the same way every time. They boycotted and got that boy licked. Remember, I ain't trying to hear who got something to do with what. Nah, keep picking. Now I'm gonna address all these tweets. Let me now be very straight. NBA YoungBoy, you are not blackballed. Let me just put this out straight. I work at Spotify. I get Carl Cherry on the phone. They all admit you are on the front page of Apple Music. Trust me, I used to say you were blackballed, my nigga. You're not no more. I think he thinks I'm working with Durk. That's not true. If you think I've picked a side, you need to realize that you're turning the industry into the streets and you're in the wrong business. If YoungBoy don't want me to post him, I will definitely, if he wants to make that request, I'll oblige. I'll tell you the ones I'll agree to. If YoungBoy don't want me to post him, I'll make a statement. I won't post YoungBoy. For the next 3 months, mark today, I will post 0 YoungBoy on my page. Just because if you don't respect the fact that I was you, why the am I over here giving you 0 YoungBoy? Watch.
Now, Durk would also seemingly disavow Akademiks' earlier claims that the beef had been squashed, posting to his IG story that he's not friends with anyone. And after his long stream addressing it, Akademiks would then come out to say that there ain't no friends in the industry, essentially ending his relationship with YoungBoy. During all of this madness, Durk would announce that he would be releasing his latest album, Almost Healed, on May the 12th. In response, YoungBoy would attempt to give Lil Durk a taste of his own medicine, after Durk's previous posts saying that he could drop and ruin Quando's release day, with YoungBoy announcing a brand new mixtape titled Richest Opp, which he would be releasing on May the 12th too. YoungBoy revealed the album's title and release date in a scathing tweet tagging Lil Durk and calling him a bitch, and calling his fiancée India, who dissed him recently, a nasty ass hoe, and calling Akademiks a pure fat hoe, and saying that Akademiks is now invalid as a credible news reporter from now on. YoungBoy would follow that up with another tweet aimed at Durk, saying that he only gets a buzz when one of his friends die, and even one aimed at Durk's girl India, saying tell him he better not drop, and following up his initial album announcement with a tweet atting Akademiks, saying that Ak is always talking about sales, but YoungBoy says that Akademiks can't manipulate him and that he has now embarrassed himself. He also says that he's dropping because all of his ops are hoes and they can't mess with YoungBoy because he's better. Akademiks would reply with a brutal tweet, where he claimed that YoungBoy was dissing him because his record sales were low. YoungBoy would also go on live teasing new songs from his upcoming project, extensively dissing Akademiks and saying that he doesn't care about numbers and that all that Ak does is get drunk and talk.
This Akademiks acting like I give a about numbers. I just dropped 2 weeks ago. This finna drop. Stop it. No, I ain't worried about no numbers. Let's play lit bank, take lit bank. Your stupid drunk face ass. That's all you like to do, is to get drunk and talk. That was gonna get you off the flap.
In this live session, YoungBoy would tease Richest Opp's lead single and opening track, Bitch Let's Do It, where YoungBoy aggressively dissed Lil Durk and King Von, among other people, rapping "That rap boy ain't safe, aha," a reference to Lil Durk's previous single, Aha, dissing him and Quando Rondo. YoungBoy would also go on to diss King Von, saying that they couldn't even stitch up the hole in his body after Lil Tim shot him, another reference to the leaked photos of King Von's autopsy that showed a large hole in his shoulder. YoungBoy goes on to diss Von again, saying "Get his last rollout on a T," a reference to the fact that King Von had just released his Welcome to O Block album in the days leading up to his death, a release which we now know charted just above YoungBoy on the Billboard charts at debut. The song also had lyrics seeming to mention the pillow left at the scene of G Money's murder, which attracted a warning from Fredo Bang telling YoungBoy to watch his mouth, perhaps an indication that this lyric had reignited his old beefs in Baton Rouge too. Now, we would actually then see a response from Durk, who was simply focused on the fact that he was now trending. Durk ultimately seemed unbothered by all of these announcements and threats from YoungBoy, taking to Twitter saying he hasn't seen anything. Durk also seemed to acknowledge all of the support that he gets from Apple Music and shading YoungBoy for being popular on just YouTube, as well as suggesting that the disses motivate YoungBoy because he's unhappy inside, referencing his own album title, saying that he hopes YoungBoy is almost healed, as well as telling people to post the positive things that they're doing, likely a reference to Durk's recent meeting with the new mayor of Chicago. When May the 12th rolled around, Lil Durk's promised album was nowhere to be seen. He would still release his inspiring lead single All My Life with J. Cole, a brilliant and positive song which ended up landing at number 2 on the Billboard Songs chart. But fans would be left wondering where was the Durk album that they were promised. Meanwhile, YoungBoy delivered on his promise of a brand new project, releasing Richest Opp, which made a big splash, and YoungBoy would take to social media to brag about successfully pulling the reversal card on Durk. YoungBoy had made Durk move his release date after Durk had bragged that he could do it to Quando, and in the end, YoungBoy would ultimately celebrate successfully pulling off what I guess he saw as a big W in the beef.
You push back, you better not ever try it again. Don't play with me.
The mixtape Richest Opp itself was extremely disrespectful and defiant, with numerous lyrics disrespecting Von and Durk and painting a picture of YoungBoy as a ruthless killer who can do what he wants. On the song I Heard, YoungBoy seemingly mentions Von's death, rapping that he heard someone got hit with a blick and they couldn't do anything and they weren't with it, as well as lyrics referencing a rapper who doesn't like him wanting to fight, which could possibly be alluding to leaked DMs from Lil Durk that came out around this time where he seemed to be trying to set up a fight with 6ix9ine to promote his album. YoungBoy seemed to acknowledge Durk's frequent dissing in lyrics on the track Father, and expressing his frustration that people now want to kill him when he was just minding his business. Then of course there was the controversial track F the Industry Part 2, where YoungBoy went in expressing his frustrations at being blacklisted in the music industry and calling out other rappers for uniting against him. YoungBoy would appear to threaten to use his money to arrange hits and have his enemies in the rap industry killed, just like he claims to do to his street rivals. He would also diss Drake, claiming that Drake told him personally that he can't work with him due to his existing friendship with Lil Durk. He would then go on to diss J. Cole, who was the guest feature on Lil Durk's single dropping the same day as this album, suggesting that J. Cole had told YoungBoy that he would do a song with him, but he never came through. In the hook, YoungBoy would essentially warn the rap industry that if they want to beef with him, they have to be about murder like he is. And YoungBoy would end the song taking aim at Houston rap legends, the Prince family, dissing J. Prince Jr. and Sr. with death threats, and claiming that because of his relationship with Birdman, he can use assassins from New Orleans to kill people, which appeared to hint that he had actually already used a hitter from New Orleans to leave someone dead in an apartment building. YoungBoy would also bring in one of his most prominent members of his crew for the only feature of the mixtape, with the track Chopstick featuring his loyal hitter, NBA Ben 10, who rapped declaring openly from his very first bar that that he is the one arranging hits for YoungBoy and that he will leave people dead for him same day. However, on top of the murder music, there was still some space for self-reflection on this project. On the song Slimes Go Where I Go, YoungBoy appeared to have made peace with the prospect of being killed himself, painting a picture of what actually happens after his rivals find success in taking his life, rapping that his oldest son will be in charge of his empire and that he expects his shooters to avenge him as he's laid to rest covered in diamonds. In another lyric, he recounts lying to his grandfather and claiming that he didn't do any of the violent acts that he was rumoured to have been involved in. Elsewhere, on the track Channel 9, YoungBoy would once again muddy the waters between facts and lies, admitting that he's the murder man, but then going on to claim that he will never admit it. On the last track, I Want His Soul, YoungBoy raps that his cousin Scully shoots people in the head and that he wants to do the same, as well as dropping a lyric referencing his earlier line in the song Forgiato, where he claims that if he kills another person, he has to start counting bodies on his toes, seemingly confirming that he is now indeed counting murders on his feet. And he would appear to follow this with another bold lyric, where he seemed to say outright that 12 people have died messing with him, and that when he catches his next body, it will be 13. Now that was an interesting way to end that album, and I think it's an interesting place to end this video. YoungBoy's entire career has been built on the allure of violence. Arguably, this is a symptom of a very sick music industry, which in 2023 seems much quicker to celebrate an artist's skills behind the gun than behind the microphone. You can hardly blame YoungBoy for spending all of these years bragging about murders and violence in his music, because that's ultimately what sells in this true crime-obsessed era of internet gangster rap. It's the same energy that made King Von, an accused multiple murderer, a bona fide rap star, getting Billboard hits and gold plaques, all off the back of bragging about and insulting the people that he seemingly killed. YoungBoy's career origins followed a similar path to Von's, but over the years, despite the content of his music remaining violent, it's difficult to say whether or not YoungBoy is truly the violent young man that he portrays in his music. Despite having claimed to have had 7 to 12 people killed, the reality, based on my research, is that either these stories are embellished and exaggerated, or YoungBoy is simply better at getting away with murders than King Von. Because despite the fact that so many people lost their lives during this beef with YoungBoy, G-Money, Ernisha Barnes, Austin on the Track, Boulevard Quick, Mohammed Jaradi, TBG Dutch, King Von, or Seven Hardaway, the police and internet detectives, myself included, haven't been able to produce any solid evidence that YoungBoy himself was directly responsible for these murders. Whether or not you believe that YoungBoy is capable of taking a life or pulling the trigger isn't up for debate, as his double attempted murder charge in 2016 should be enough proof that there have been times when he truly was prepared to shoot and kill. But if he was truly responsible for 12 murders in his hometown, there would surely be something here to go on. But you can't call YoungBoy's music fraudulent or phony, because his music is inspired by the real pain and trauma of losing so many people on his own side during his life. From the death of Lil Dave, his cousin Boozilla, his manager Dump, or Quando Rondo's cousin Lil Pab, it's clear that YoungBoy's life has been characterized by death, losses, and heartbreak. And that rings true in his music, and is part of what makes it so moving and real. So, the final question remains. Is YoungBoy truly the gravedigger, responsible for a dozen bodies laying in the ground, or is he simply a fake gangster, embellishing his street credentials to make compelling music that appeals to the modern-day gangster rap audience? Well, right now, it appears that the true answer must be somewhere in between. Because if YoungBoy is truly the murder man responsible for all these crimes, it would only be a matter of time before the federal authorities could work it out and put him behind bars for good. But thus far, YoungBoy has managed to avoid serious consequences in every case and major charge put against him. Maybe that luck won't last, and eventually YoungBoy will catch a case. But it's hard to believe that this man could truly be responsible for 12 murders and get away with it for this long. If he is, then the feds will surely catch up with him. As in this internet age of uncontained information, nothing can remain a secret forever. But hopefully, that doesn't happen. Because even if it's just all lies and YoungBoy is not a killer, what we know he is one of the most prolific, successful, and inspiring artists of a generation. He absolutely did come from one of the most challenging and dangerous situations that one could be born into. And despite numerous close calls in the streets, he managed to escape with his life intact, becoming an artist respected all around the world for his perspective. And despite the fact that he recently appeared to depart from his Stop the Violence message, I truly hope that going forward, he can return to that sentiment and keep trying to influence the youth to be more like him, the real YoungBoy, who is a multi-millionaire recording artist that looks after his enormous family and focuses on the positivity and love in his life. Because at the end of the day, if we want things to get better in the communities where gang violence is so rampant, we need more people like YoungBoy, the artist, and less people like YoungBoy, the gun-toting gang member. If you found that clip interesting, please hit the like and subscribe button, and if you want to watch the full-length version of this video, check out the documentary on my main channel, Trap Law Ross, and if you want the uncut version of that documentary with 30 minutes of footage I cannot show you on YouTube, then head on over to patreon.com/traplawross, where you can watch all of my best videos completely uncut for just $2. And if you want to keep in touch and get updates on the next documentaries that I'm going to be dropping, make sure you follow me on Instagram at traplawross. Appreciate it. Peace.